In this video, we'll be taking a look at 2 college football games happening on September 17, 2022, and providing you with team picks and total picks for each one of those games. So 2 picks for each game, 4 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 2 college football games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start. If you would like to gain access to our best exclusive betting picks to take your sports betting journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer anywhere from 1 betting pick a day up to 10 betting picks a day and much more. Now let's get started. San Diego State versus Utah. Utah got over their season-opening loss to Florida with a blowout win in their last game, and they host San Diego State, who won their last game. San Diego State lost their season opener against Arizona, giving up 38 points, but they bounced back to win their last game, where they only gave up 7 points. The Aztecs are a huge 21.5-point underdog in this game, but they beat Utah last season 33-31 in triple overtime, where they were 8.5-point home dogs. Utah dropped in the rankings after their loss to Florida, but their offense lit it up in the last game in a 73-7 win over Southern Utah. They covered as 45.5-point favorites and looked to avenge last season's loss to San Diego State. San Diego State played Arizona in their first matchup of the year. The Aztecs were outscored 28-10 in the first half and limped to a 38-20 loss. QB Braxton Burmeister posted 51 yards with 1 touchdown and 1 pick, and Cam Davis led the rush with 39 yards on 8 totes. In Game 2 versus Idaho State, the Aztecs put up points in every quarter during a 38-7 win. Burmeister finished with 108 yards and a touchdown on 5 of 26 passing. Jalen Armstead rushed 5 times for 96 yards, and Tyrell Shavers caught 3 balls for 36 yards and a touchdown. Over on the Utah side, they had a 19-14 lead on Florida heading into the 4th quarter of their opener, but ultimately lost 29-26 in a heartbreaker. QB Cameron Rising posted 216 yards with 1 touchdown and 1 INT, and Tavian Thomas had 115 yards and a score from 23 carries. In Game 2 versus Southern Utah, the Utes scored 38 points in the second quarter alone during a 73-7 blowout victory. Rising threw for 254 yards with 3 touchdowns, and Chris Curry rushed 6 times for 60 yards and a score. Dalton Kincaid added 7 grabs for 107 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Aztecs are 9-4 against the spread in their last 13 non-conference games and 8-3-1 against the spread in their last 12 after an against-the-spread loss. San Diego State is 1-4 against the spread in the last 5 after a straight-up win. Meanwhile, the Utes are 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 at home and 6-2 against the spread in their last 8 versus the Mountain West Conference. Utah is 13-6 against the spread in their last 19 on turf. The Utes managed a lopsided victory in their last outing, posting 599 total yards with 8.4 yards per play, 31 first downs, and just 2 punts. Utah held the Thunderbirds to just 85 total yards, 1.9 yards per play, 4 first downs, and a 1-of-1-2 mark on 3rd down tries on the other side. This one shouldn't be quite such a mismatch, but I like the Utes to keep it going. As for San Diego State, they had a nice effort on both sides of the ball over the weekend themselves. Some of that could be due to Idaho State's current skill level, but the Aztecs did their job regardless. After losing a heartbreaker to Florida in Week 1, Utah bounced back in a big way last weekend with its 73-7 shellacking of Southern Utah. The Utes now get another easy matchup against San Diego State before beginning Pac-12 play next week. The oddsmakers are expecting a comfortable win for the home favorites, and we should do the same. San Diego State lost by 18 points at home to Arizona in Week 1 despite being favored going into the game. In that loss, it was clear how bad the Aztecs' offense might be after struggling at times last season. They scored only 1 offensive touchdown and were outgained 461-232 in total yards by Arizona. Transfer quarterback Braxton Burmeister went just 5 for 10 for 51 yards through the air, as San Diego State's poor QB play continues to be a problem, just like it's been for a few years now. The Aztecs have gotten by with a solid running game in recent seasons, but last year's workhorse Greg Bell is gone. Utah, meanwhile, had the nation's 11th best rushing defense a year ago and will force Burmeister to make plays. That could be a recipe for disaster, and the San Diego State offense will struggle to even get into field goal range without a proven run game to lean on. On the other side of the ball, Utah should have plenty of success against an Aztecs defense that gave up 38 points points to Arizona 2 weeks ago. The Aztecs actually pulled off the upset over Utah in last year's meeting in a wild triple overtime game. At home in this rematch, the Utes will be motivated to exact revenge and reel off a convincing win to cover. It's also worth noting that the Utes are 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 home games, while San Diego State is 2-6-1 against the spread in its last 9 games overall. So the Utah Utes to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Last year, we saw San Diego State reel off a 12-2 record despite ranking 78th in scoring offense. Well, that win-loss mark should regress a bit this season, as their offense is just as bad and might be even worse. The Aztecs scored only 1 offensive touchdown in Week 1 against Arizona and then had only 1 score on offense through the first 3 quarters last week in the win over Idaho State. Transfer QB Braxton Burmeister was supposed to improve their passing game, but he has just 159 total passing yards and a 55.6% completion rate over the first 2 contests. That won't cut it against a Utah defense that should shut down the Aztecs' running game and force Burmeister to make plays through the air. Overall, expect San Diego State's offense to struggle to get on the scoreboard here. Utah's defense looked vulnerable against Florida in Week 1, but that's a much tougher test on the road and in Southeastern Conference environment than at home against a Mountain West opponent this time. On the flip side, the Utes will likely lean on the run game in the second half with a big lead as they gear up for Pac-12 play beginning next week. They might score 30 to 40 points, but they could also be content with a comfortable lead without running it up. Bank on a lower scoring game, with the struggling San Diego State offense being the big factor here. Under the projected total is our full game total pick. Miami, Florida versus Texas Aggies. Texas Aggies is coming off a shocking loss, and they play host to 13th-ranked Miami, who has easily won both of their games. While Miami has not played a Power 5 team in their first 2 games, they do have 2 wins where they have outscored their opponents 100-20. The team has over 1,000 total yards in their 2 games, and they head to the Lone Star State as 5.5-point underdogs against Texas Aggies. Texas Aggies dropped to number 24 in the ranking after their shocking home loss to Appalachian State in their last game, where they were 18-point home favorites. The Aggies could really use a win facing Miami as they open Southeastern Conference play in their next game facing 10th-ranked Arkansas. The Miami Hurricanes have won 5 of their last 7 road games. Tyler Van Dyke is completing 73.9% of his passes for 456 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Xavier Restrepo and Michael Redding III have combined for 248 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns, while Brashard Smith has 6 receptions. The Miami Hurricanes' ground game is averaging 241 yards per contest, and Henry Parrish Jr. leads the way with 217 yards and 4 touchdowns. Defensively, Miami is allowing 10 points and 286.5 yards per game. Corey Flagg Jr. leads the Miami Hurricanes with 10 tackles. Jacob Lichtenstein has 1 sack, and James Williams has 1 interception. The Texas Aggies have won 5 of their last 6 home games. Haynes King is completing 64.7% of his passes for 461 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Aeneas Smith and Evan Stewart have combined for 290 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns, while Yulkeith Brown has 4 receptions. The Texas Aggies' ground game is averaging 99.5 yards per contest, and Devin Achane leads the way with 108 yards and 2 touchdowns. Defensively, Texas Aggies is allowing 8.5 points and 256.5 yards per game. Antonio Johnson leads the Texas Aggies with 17 tackles. LT Overton has 1 sack, and Jordan Gilbert has 1 interception. The Hurricanes are 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 road games and 3-8 against the spread in their last 11 non-conference games. The Aggies are 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 versus Atlantic Coast Conference and 1-4 against the spread in their last 5 games overall. The under is 20-8-2 in Hurricanes' last 30 road games. The under is 5-1 in Aggies' last 6 non-conference games. Another major college football program in a state of crisis is Texas Aggies. After the home loss to Appalachian State, Jimbo Fisher is facing questions about his quarterback and his play calling. Quarterback Haynes King struggled mightily, going just 13-20 for 97 yards last week. Max Johnson, former LSU quarterback, is waiting for his number to be called. The Aggies' rush offense isn't even averaging 100 yards per game. Leading rusher Devin Achane has run for just 108 yards and is averaging just 3.9 yards per carry. Add that Miami's defense is allowing just 63 yards per game on the ground, and it could be all on whichever quarterback is under center to try and win this game. Miami has the 3rd highest passing attack in the nation, averaging 381 yards per game. Quarterback Tyler Van Dyke has turned the offense around. He's only had 12 incompletions in the first 2 weeks. Running back Henry Parrish Jr. is averaging 5.9 yards per rush and a running game that's put up 243.5 yards per game on the ground over the first 2 weeks. Neither team looked great last week, but I'll chalk some of it up to both clubs looking ahead to this game, which will make or break playoff hopes for both sides. With that said, there's some real concern for the Texas Aggies, who haven't gotten any offense going through 2 games. Texas Aggies can't run the ball and is 102nd in total offense and 102nd in scoring offense. The Miami Hurricanes have one of the better quarterbacks in the country, and he currently has a top 20 rushing attack supporting him. Texas Aggies is currently 86th in run defense. The Aggies have a lot of problems on the offensive side of the ball. On the other side, the Hurricanes lean on their dynamic offensive unit. Miami has enough weapons to deal with the Aggies, who will have to recover from a shocking loss in Week 2. This is the first Power 5 test for both opponents with 2 very aggressive defenses. I know Kyle Field is one of the best home field advantages in all of college football, but this number won't allow me to back Aggies. Miami will have its chances to steal this game on the road, so the Miami Hurricanes to cover the spread underdogs is our full game side pick. This is one of the lowest totals of the weekend. Miami's defense is excellent. Texas Aggies is better. There are 2 major concerns for the total in this game, one being how much success will Miami quarterback Tyler Van Dyke, who is completing 78% of his passes, be able to have against the top 10 passing defense of the Aggies, and 2, if the Hurricanes will be able to go after Aggies quarterback Haynes King at will because of a poor Aggies rushing attack. Texas Aggies will play desperate because they must. They are also home and will have the backing of the crowd, which will make life difficult for Miami. There's no way this game turns into a shootout because the Aggies don't have the offense or quarterback play for it. So how much they can stop Miami's offense will ultimately tell if this total goes over. The Aggies will lean on their defense to get them through this tough matchup. Texas Aggies has allowed fewer than 20 points in 6 of its previous 8 games overall. The under is 5-0 in the Aggies' previous 5 contests played in September, and it is 9-4 in their last 13 games when listed as favorites. The Aggies secondary is full of talented playmakers, so the Hurricanes will struggle to move the ball through the air. Miami needs to establish its ground game early and try to keep the Aggies' defense on the field as much as possible. Neither team gets to 30 here. In fact, neither team may get close, and that's what it's going to take for this one to remain low scoring. Under the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.